Hello and welcome to my website. Welcome to the Wright Success Institute and Alan Wright TV. I'd like to share a few things with you here today about this website and welcome you to what I do. As you can plainly see, I'm an old white guy, and people don't particularly like to listen to old white guys these days. I'm not so sure I do either. But I do have some things I'd like to talk to you about. Over the last few years I've had some health issues and I've cut back on what I do, but I've got some things I'd like to say. And I have three major projects that I do in my retirement life, and I'd like to share a little about those with you here today and welcome you to look further on this website to more specific information about them. The first, and probably if you want to say more frivolous, one of the three projects is my golf project. About 6 years ago, I kind of took up the game of golf in my retirement. I hadn't for the first few years. Played a little golf. I was an athlete in high school, a little bit in college and in the military. And I had some nice accomplishments. But a golfer, no, not so much. I always thought it was for the rich. But in any event, I decided I wanted to play a little bit, and I've always enjoyed playing just about any game with a ball that you could hit, swing at, throw, catch, whatever. Golf is a difficult sport, so I probably spent more time learning than I did playing, partly because it was so expensive. But in the process, I learned that I could instruct pretty well. I'm a retired teacher and educator for most of my life, and I like teaching. So I kind of created a novel, innovative approach to teaching golf. I went out and bought a golf truck. Well, it was an old Penske moving truck, reconditioned it, put a few $1,000s into it, air conditioning, electronics, video, all kinds of things like that, so I could go around to people's houses, parks, and parking lots and places like that and help people learn to play golf in air-conditioned comfort whenever they wanted to, all kinds of weather, and for people that were a little shy about learning the game. So I worked mostly with beginners. Really enjoyed it, did it about 6 years, didn't make any money, but I enjoyed it a lot. Sold my truck. Actually I had two trucks. One was a smaller one that I set up equipment in people's backyard from. So anyway, in the process of doing that, I learned something and created or invented a novel way of playing golf. Basically, where other people use 14 clubs and buy some of the newest technology every year, $400 or $500 for a club, a putter or driver or whatever, I call my way of playing golf the right way, of course, but funky golf. This is funky golf. It's more fun, putting the fun back in golf. So if you'd like to learn more about that and what it means, spend some time here on my site. I have a section on funky golf. Basically, you play with 1, 2, or 3 clubs. I play with just one club, and I play just about as well as I ever did. And I play right with almost anybody I ever played with, either sometimes beating them and most of the time playing right with them. And it's fun. You go out, play 9 holes for 2 hours, and it's fun to challenge yourself and your skill level and challenge the course without getting involved in all that technology and big old heavy bag with 14 clubs in it. Anyway, that's golf. Second project I'd like to talk to you about is kind of a new project with me as well, and not so serious as my other one, and the next one I'll talk to you about. It's music, but it is kind of linked to my other project. One of the saddest things in my life, it literally gives me the blues, is true lies. I know it's an oxymoron, but it's an oxymoron. Maybe you don't know what an oxymoron is. Two words in the term which are contradictory. Something can't be a lie and be true, or be true and still be a lie, except as an oxymoron. And a true lie is essentially something that you believe to be true, but it was a lie. When it was told to you, it's still a lie, but you believe it to be true. And it's kind of foundational. It just cuts across much of the worldview that most people, most particularly working class people, have. We've been told lies all our life, many innocuously by people we trust, some by people not so innocuous. People like our president, people like other political leaders, even just pundits and people in our daily life. And many times it's by your parents. They didn't know it was a lie, but they told it to you. It became part of your worldview. And we base our life on it. It's sometimes quite confusing. So anyway, I chose to sing about that. And what better way to do that than to produce, perform, and publish a music video or a series of music videos about the True Lie Blues, the name of my new song. We call ourselves, my tongue-in-cheek compatriots here, the Blue Notes, Doe, Ray, and me, Alan, right? The Blue Notes, we are a group. We get along quite well. I don't take a lot of lip, and I give a lot, so we do okay. But it's more of a group thing than you think. I hope you'll check into what we do and other parts of this website. But right now, I'd like to talk about the most serious part of my website, and it's kind of a continuation of my lifelong interests and projects. Like I said, I'm a bit of a teacher and a preacher. I worked in and out of public schools, private schools. I own a corporation, developed a corporation along with a few others, and was CEO of that corporation where we developed 13 charter schools at one point, designed to help transition troubled kids back into the public school system. I was the state superintendent for correctional education school system for youth in Arizona, administrator for special ed in California for the California Youth Authority with over 10,000 students. I was the vocational director and project director in Colorado for a short while. I was the national president for the correctional education directors and I can't remember the title of the association all of a sudden, but it was a national association for my profession, and I served in that capacity for a few years. And so I've had a lot of jobs in education, worked in Washington quite a bit, worked with also some other countries. I worked in law enforcement. I was hired in LA, hired in Pima County here in Arizona. I worked with FEMA. I've worked with Booz Allen, the same company that Edward Snowden worked for a short while. I didn't do what he did, but I've been around and done a lot of different things. Worked in casinos in Las Vegas and Lake Tahoe. But I've had a lot of experiences, and in those experiences I've learned a few things about our world. One of the things that I talk about a lot here on this website is a project I began about 40 years ago called the Right Success Institute and Success School, where I work with people, corporations, companies, anybody that wants to work with me to develop a better strategic plan. Most people weren't taught to develop a strategic plan, to examine their worldviews, and it's the source and the reason why we're often confused by conflicting information, true lies that we run across in our daily lives. I've got several degrees. I work with a lot of information companies, including our CIA. I worked with a lot of people to develop my image of the world, the social inequities, the distribution of power, the economic distribution. My primary interest is the wrong being done to the middle-class worker of the world, and I would like to talk to you about that and talk to you about some solutions for that. And if you want to spend some time on this website doing that, I would like that very much. I use a Socratic method of questions mostly. I don't argue. I'm not here to give you a hard time about anything, so I'd appreciate your comments. I would appreciate any degree of contribution you wish to make to the website. I want to reach out and touch 100, 150 people that I used to know a little bit. I'm hoping I can find you, or you can find me here on this website. I'd like to talk to you. A lot of my old clients and friends, people I worked with, students. It would be pleasant. Like I said, I'm an old retired white guy with a little time on my hands and still have a lot of interest and a little bit to say, and maybe I can help you. One of the things I do is with the Right Conspiracy up here, I've been doing a lot of research since 9/11 and to the tremendous amount of lying and just improprieties of our own government and many of the corporations involved in that terrible thing that happened in our country, and the follow-up to it, after it. A great deal of deceit by the President, the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, and others. Proven, absolutely real. Maybe you think they had their reasons, they're our leaders, we should unqualifyingly support that, but I can't do that. I think it's right to question inequities and wrongdoing in our country. I think that white-collar crime, whether it's politicians or anybody else, calls for action. And you may note I'm looking down here at my timer, I'm about done here. You may note up in my menu structure a piece called Zombieland. I'd like you to pay particular attention to that. We're facing some tremendous problems in our world right now. And zombies are what I call people that refuse to pay attention. It's a form of being undead. You're alive, but you're not engaged in a productive and positive way. You may think you are, but oftentimes you're confused and wrong. And I'd like to talk to you about that if you want to. I'm sure you'll feel insulted if you think I'm calling you a zombie or ignorant, but I suppose I am in many cases. So if you think I'm wrongfully doing that, or you have a different thought about it, I'd like to talk to you about that as well. So welcome again, and I want to wish you a happy and healthy farewell until you come back again. From Doe, Ray, and me, Alan Wright, I say good day, good night, whatever the time of day is for you. Bye.